Details later on. But to Nakuru County, where the Chief Justice, that is David Maraga, is set to officially open the first national conference on criminal justice reforms. Now, the event is taking place in Nakuru, and our reporter Alan Ochanda is following this story and now joins us live with an update. Alan Ochanda, good morning. We're talking about matters justice reforms in the country. A meeting coming also at a time when the judiciary has been facing a lot of hurdles because of budget cuts.
Well, Brenda, good morning to you. Indeed, the Criminal Justice Reforms Conference, the first of its kind, is happening in Naivasha. This is in Nakuru County, and it's being presided over by none other than the Chief Justice David Maraga, and in attendance will be the Cabinet Secretary for Interior, Dr. Fred Matiang'i, the EACC boss, that is Twalibu Mubarak, and also the Commissioner of Prisons, Wycliffe Ogale, shall also be in attendance. Remember that this first of its kind conference is happening at a time when exactly a week ago the head of the judiciary, that is Dr. David Maraga, was crying foul of the slashing of the budget of the judiciary. But the slot that was the money that was slashed from the budget was quietly returned to the judiciary, and so operations it seems are now happening as they were planned initially. And so remember that it's also happening at a time when the police are on the spot for brutality against its own citizens that they should be guarding. And so the Interior Cabinet Secretary, Dr. Fred Matiang'i, may also touch on the same. And also remember that some senior police officers have also been accused of just maybe dragging the process by either not arraigning the suspects who've been arrested in court on time. And so all the stakeholders will be in attendance to just ensure that the criminal justice system, how they dispense the justice in the criminal justice sector, is actually a matter that is being shedded light upon. And so remember that also as the Cabinet Secretary for Interior, Dr. Fred Matiang'i, is also the representative of the executive. And remember that there was bad blood between the two arms of the government. And remember that he was tasked with ensuring that the government projects run smoothly. And so being a representative of the executive, it's a sign that the bad blood, the bad relations has now been mended. And so the executive and the judiciary are now in good books, if this meeting is anything to go by. But also remember that some inmates have been mysteriously getting just vanishing from the prisons where they've been held before they are arraigned in court. Some have claimed not to have been booked in the occurrence books by the arresting officers. And so maybe the Commissioner of Prisons, that's Wycliffe Ogale, may be shedding more light on that. And so remember that also the judiciary had claimed that dispensing such cases was actually dragged by the slashing of the budget. And so if this conference is going to iron out such issues that have been acting as hurdles in dispensing justice in the judiciary, then Kenyans and more so those who have been waiting for justice in the corridors of justice may just have a sigh of relief if this conference may just achieve what is aimed to achieve. Brenda.
Right, and Ochanda, the judiciary has been, the judiciary, the government, when it comes to the EACC and also, the investigative arm of government, the Ministry of Interior, there's been a back forth, blame game that the judiciary is not doing enough to handle cases when it comes to cases of corruption, cases of murder. They're taking long. But the judiciary, on the other hand, says that, the DPP and the DCI are not giving enough evidence to actually pin down some of the people who've been alleged to have committed crime in the country.
Brenda, if you remember in February this year, when there was an anti-corruption conference at the Bomas of Kenya, Dr. David Maraga, the CJ, claimed that the lawyers who represent these fellows or the suspects in the courts of law, they have been just pairing up cases and holding them together and just making the dispensing of justice, and how the judges and magistrates have been dealing with these cases. He was claiming that the lawyers have failed in a way, not really wholesomely, but in a way they have failed because they have been holding together all the suspects and charge sheets have been paired together. And remember that he was claiming that the charge sheets must be separated so that the judges and magistrates can deal with the cases separately. But also remember that all the investigative agencies and the prosecutorial agencies have been blaming each other. But this conference, which I've actually indicated earlier on that it's the first of its kind, may be seeking to iron, among other issues, that one, so that the investigative agencies can work in harmony, so that all those that are seeking justice will just not just see as if justice has been done, but also feel so that justice has been done. But also remember that, yes, they have been blaming each other, but in the recent days, the DPP has been cooperating very well with the DCI. Remember that they have been briefing the fourth estate jointly, but we've not seen the Chief Justice really doing so. But if he's the one presiding over this event, and all the heads of the investigative agencies and also the head of the security sector, Dr. Fred Matiang'i, is also in attendance, then maybe the issues could be ironed out today, and moving forward, maybe they could be working in harmony. Because remember, the corruption cases have been dragging in courts. Remember that some magistrates and judges have been accused of just giving them very high, and some high bail terms. Some have been accused of giving them quite lenient rulings. And so such are the issues that we expect to be ironed out, discussed by the conference that are beginning in in an hour or so to come. Brenda.
Right, thank you so much. Ellen Ochanda, a man based in Nakuru County, talking to us about that Justice Reform Conference that's happening in Nakuru. He'll be giving us details later on when that conference begins, a conference that brings together Chief Justice David Maraga, the Director of Public Prosecution, Ordin Haji,